Let's say you're getting ready to walk the dog. You lace up your sneakers, get out your headphones, only to discover you finished that podcast you were really enjoying yesterday. And now the dog is already leashed up, and you've got to figure out what you're going to listen to fast. That's where our free mobile app comes in. In moments when there's too many options and not enough time to decide, just open the Boise State Public Radio app and hit play.
I'm George Prentice in Boise.
Our news and music live streams are here 24/7 to keep you informed and entertained.
From Boise State Public Radio, this is The Connector, Idaho's daily news. Good morning. I'm George Prentice. Today, we'll tell you about that fast-moving storm that swept through the region overnight. We've got an election update. We'll tell you about the Idaho Legislature's effort to ban DEI programs. And we'll ask just how safe are Idaho's 80-mile-an-hour speed zones. It is Thursday, the 24th of October, and here are today's stories. We'll start things off by saying good morning to Dave Grainert at the National Weather Service office in Boise.
Yeah, thanks, George. Good morning.
What can you tell us about what swept through overnight? Was that a cold front?
That was a cold front, yes. Yeah. We had a pretty good cold front with some gusty winds come through and some showers, and it's on its way to our east now, so we're going to have a cooler day today.
Okay, so tell us about today. What's the forecast like?
Sure. High temperatures will be about 10 degrees cooler than yesterday, and we're going to have a little bit of a wind. Not too much, though, but a little cooler, a little bit below normal for today.
That precipitation that swept through so quick, did it bring any snow to higher elevations?
It did. The snow levels came down with that front, and so we even saw some snow up at Bogus Basin. Snow levels got down to 5,500 to 6,000 feet, so...
It's so interesting. I think I saw on the calendar they've got a Pray for Snow event this weekend.
Good timing then.
Yeah, there you go. What does the long range look like?
It's going to warm back up here into the weekend, so that by the time we get into Saturday and Sunday, high temperatures are going to be in the mid to upper 60s, near 70. Wow. Yeah, and then we get another cold front there late Sunday into Monday, and it's going to cool back down. So kind of the roller coaster of fall here.
Wow, Saturday sounds pretty great, though.
It does, yeah. Highs in the mid to upper 60s, and should be, it'll be dry and pretty sunny. So.
With only 12 days until Election Day, election officials across the region continue to report they're seeing what could be a record number of early voters. Early in-person voting continues in a number of counties across Idaho this morning, and we should note that Ada County's mobile voting unit will be on the campus of Boise State University today. Meanwhile, tens of thousands of absentee ballots continue to come in, and a big reminder, tomorrow will be the final day to request an absentee ballot. If you have not requested an absentee by tomorrow, you'll need to vote in person either early or on Election Day. Checking in now with Wood River Valley, where early in-person voting is taking place at the Blaine County Courthouse in Haley.
And overall, it's been a very busy early voting period. It's been getting larger just about every day.
This is Blaine County Clerk Stephen Graham, who adds that an equally impressive number of absentee ballots continue to come in.
And so between that and the early vote, at this point, we have already had a 21% voter turnout for the county, which is quite high this early on.
And Graham says in election days past, Blaine County high school students have helped out in the polls, and now with early voting.
We had sort of run out of slots for high school kids to help on election day. But luckily for the ones who are still interested in helping, there's still plenty of due between now and Election Day, so we're very grateful for that.
So early in-person voting continues today in Ada, Adams, Bingham, Blaine, Bonneville, Canyon, Elmore, Fremont, Gem, Idaho, Kootenai, Madison, Minidoka, Twin Falls, and Valley counties. A reminder that while there is another week of early voting, that early in-person voting will end a week from Friday. It has been 4 months since Idaho banned public universities from requesting diversity statements during their admissions and or hiring processes. Meanwhile, a legislative task force is still hammering out what the state's anti-diversity, equity, and inclusion policies are targeting. Julie Lucatau reports.
In their first meeting since the law went into effect, the committee took stock of DEI initiatives on Idaho campuses. Legislative research analyst Casey Hartwig said his team reviewed job postings at the top 4 state institutions and found none had written requirements anymore for applicants to submit a diversity statement.
We also looked at anything where there could be a preference or an enhancement given to people who had experience working with diverse groups of individuals or specific underrepresented groups.
Senator Melissa Wintrow, the only Democrat on the task force, asked for clarification on the context for these state policies and said looking to remove any mentions of DEI bordered on censorship.
We have to define what equity really means. We have to define discrimination. We have to define all those things as we go forward. Otherwise, we're just doing these word searches. And it's borderline making me really uncomfortable.
The task force will continue these conversations in December ahead of the 2025 legislative session. Julie Duqueta, Boise State Public Radio News.
Now, something to consider. For your morning or afternoon commute, state transportation managers review crash data for the 80-mile-an-hour zones in Idaho each year. And while the number of crashes in these areas has gone up, data also reveals that 80-mile-an-hour speed limit areas are about as safe as 75 miles an hour were a decade ago. Troy Oppie tells us more.
The Idaho Transportation Department took the green light from lawmakers in 2014 to increase interstate speeds in rural areas from 75 to 80 miles an hour. Each year, ITD staff detail crash and speed data from those areas for the state's transportation board. ITD traffic engineer Kevin Sablin says the rate of fatal and serious crashes is about the same as before the speed limit increase.
From an operational perspective, I would say that the 80-mile-an-hour corridors are functioning as well as they were when it was 75, and as well as sections, other highway segments, not only within Idaho, but nationwide.
Crash rates on southern and eastern Idaho's rural interstates were significantly lower than North Idaho's Interstate 90, which is included in the data but has a maximum speed of 75. The data also show drivers have continued to pick up speed. The vast majority were driving about 79 miles an hour 10 years ago before the speed limit increase. Now, most drivers in these areas are going 85 miles an hour, with average speeds even higher during the dry summer months. Troy Oppie, Boise State Public Radio News.
And that's today's episode of The Connector. I'm George Prentice. We'll see you back here on Friday, and we'd love it if you could rate or review The Connector wherever you're listening right now, and that will help more people hear the show. If you're feeling generous, spread the word in your circle or share The Connector with a friend that you might think would like it. And thanks for listening.
The candidates for November are set.
I know Donald Trump's type.
Between now and Election Day,
we are not going back.
A campaign season unfolding faster.
Kamala Harris is not getting a promotion.
Than any in recent history.
Make America great again.
Follow it all with new episodes every weekday on the NPR Politics Podcast.